Yesterday marked the official 6 months since I've been laid off from the federal government by the federal government. In those 6 months, I have applied to over 300 jobs and I have gotten none of them. I've only actually been offered one interview in 6 months. I've had professionals redo my resume. I've done career coaching. I have literally utilized all of the self-help tools and things that have been offered to me to no avail. So all I really have left is clinging to faith. God has provided thus far, and I know my breakthrough is coming, ending Q1 in such a traumatic way. And then now here we are in Q4. I know God's going to do his big one, but I'm just waiting on the win.
For decades, Washington, D.C. has been bloated with agencies and employees who do not serve the people and do not share the values that make America strong. And now, for the first time in history, a president is willing to turn a government shutdown into an opportunity, not a setback. The Trump administration has made it very clear. Taxpayer dollars should no longer fund agencies that stand in the way of the American people's priorities. By reshaping the federal workforce, this move sets a powerful precedent that our government should reflect the values of its citizens, not the entrenched bureaucracy. The true question is, isn't it time that we've had a government that truly works for America, not against it?
The Trump administration has said they will lay off federal workers during this government shutdown. This is a major change from past government shutdowns where federal employees were just furloughed. For how and why this is happening, ASP explains. Just days before the shutdown began, the Office of Personnel Management, or the OPM, instructed federal HR employees to remain on duty so they could conduct layoffs as part of a reduction in force plan. During previous government shutdowns, HR staff was deemed non-essential, so they were furloughed during a shutdown, effectively preventing them from implementing layoffs or hirings or firings. What's the difference between essential and non-essential? The Anti-Deficiency Act is the law that requires the government to shut down if Congress fails to pass a spending bill. Under that law, essential employees are those whose jobs tie directly to, quote, emergencies involving the safety of human life or the protection of property. Everyone else must stop working. Everybody else, go home! In guidance shared ahead of the shutdown, the White House Office of Management and Budget ordered agencies to identify programs whose funding would lapse on October 1st, and no alternative funding source is available. Agencies were then instructed to not just prepare for temporary furloughs, but permanent job cuts, particularly in programs that don't align with President Trump's agenda. It's still unclear how many federal employees the administration will try to lay off during the shutdown. In addition to the threatened layoffs, the tens of thousands of federal employees who accepted the Trump administration's deferred resignation offer had their final day of work this week. That program allowed participants to stop working while still continuing to be paid through the end of the fiscal year. Taken together, the deferred resignations and the potential layoffs during this government shutdown add to an estimated 201,000 federal employees who have already left government service since the start of the Trump administration.
Okay, so this happened today. Have a look.
Down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said
okay,
it.
You want to put that on
You've
my...
said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
That's right. You heard it right. Trump said here that he would shut down the government if he didn't get what he wants. And he's willing to use the military to get what he wants. And what he wants is something that's going to result in millions of Americans having their health care costs skyrocket or go away completely. And he said right here that he will do that. And yet it won't matter. He will just say, I never said that. The media will say Trump claims he never said that, even though here it is, right here, and that'll be the end of it. He'll blame the Democrats, even though he has total control of the government. He has all three branches, and yet he'll blame the Democrats for this, even though he said this.
Government shutdown has hurt federal workers, and MAGA supporters are angry after many jobs were cut. Why? My name is Rick. In today's video, we are going to talk about how government shutdown has affected federal workers in United States, has affected federal workers in United States. If we've got a more video like this, I'll come back with a comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get into it.
A Senate stalemate means the government shutdown will stretch into next week. Yesterday, Democrats and Republicans failed to advance competing proposals to fund the government. According to the Congressional Budget Office, about 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed, costing them $400 million in daily wages.
The government shutdown continues this weekend with Congress deadlocked over funding and Republicans and Democrats trading blame for the situation. But in the middle of it all are thousands of federal workers who are going without a paycheck.
On Friday, the Senate failed to pass legislation to extend federal funding, pushing the ongoing government shutdown into next week.
The motion upon reconsideration is not agreed to.
A Republican-backed plan already passed in the House, but the bill did not receive enough support from Senate Democrats. A Democratic counterproposal also failed to move forward.
So we're in a shutdown posture here because of Senate Democrats. There is united support, House Republicans, Senate Republicans, a few Senate Democrats, the President of the United States in support of keeping or opening the government back up.
Democrats want more health care funding, including an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits.
My caucus and Democrats are adamant that we must protect the health care of the American people.
House Speaker Mike Johnson canceled plans for the chamber to return to Washington next week, a move that effectively puts pressure on the Senate to act.
So the House will come back into session and do its work as soon as Chuck Schumer allows us to reopen the government. That's plain and simple.
As Congress remains at a stalemate, federal workers are furloughed and are not being paid. Meanwhile, the White House is floating possible mass firings during the shutdown.
Look, the Office of Management and Budget, as we've said repeatedly, is working with the agencies and our cabinet secretaries to identify where cuts unfortunately can and have to be made.
Max Steyer is the president of the Partnership for Public Service.
So federal employees are truly both first responders and victims. They're feeling a sense of betrayal, a sense of fear, a sense of uncertainty around, how they're going to be able to do what they're there to do, which is to help the public.
As negotiations continue, sources tell CBS News House Republicans will hold a call over the weekend. Both chambers are in recess.
Of course, we don't want to lose our paychecks, but it doesn't just affect us, right? This affects everyone. Part of my job is investigating illegal firings. And so all of those people who've been illegally fired and have turned to the government for help, they're also waiting. Trump is threatening to close our agencies, to lay off mass amounts of federal workers, which is totally different than any other shutdown. It's always been temporary. We go back to work. We go back to providing the same services. Here, he's saying that he wants to end that.
This isn't the first shutdown that I have been through as a federal worker or a contractor to the federal government. I've never been conflicted about it. I've always felt, obviously, fund the government. This is silly. But this time is just so different because the greater shutdown was already happening. Our jobs in the federal government have been under threat. It's just so much bigger. What we're dealing with is just so much bigger than my job. Threatening to fire us is a bullying tactic. That's what it is, plain and simple.
Will I ever have a job to go back to is a concern that a lot of employees are facing right now. But what we're also seeing is that there's a lot of resolve this time where, it's different because we see what's at stake. We want to make sure that we have agencies to go back to, and it can't go back to the status quo because we need to have the actual funding to be able to complete our mission to continue to serve the American people.
Thousands of employees who trusted the government has no pay. They feel like there is no future in the United States. It's really crazy how you were able to get your money on time, going to the job every day, and in the next morning they told you that you are no longer able to work from here. You cannot get any salary from us. But this is what Americans voted for, because when they voted for Trump, he told people he's going to make America great. So they were expecting Trump to increase job opportunities, to change their life from one step to another step. But when you see what is happening now, Government is shutting down.
I'm going to choose my words really carefully here. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go into great detail to explain it to you if you can't figure it out. The shutdown and everything that's happening around it, and watching Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries specifically, but not just them, should be like the final, event that dispels any notion in anyone's head that the Democratic Party is going to be able to stand up to Trump, and it's going to be the institution, apparatus, organization, choose your words, that will lead not only the opposition, but the resistance to Donald Trump. They're failing at opposition. They're definitely not going to lead resistance. And where we are right now, in this moment, we need to be at resistance, not just opposition. And the reason why I say I choose my words wisely is because people are going to be in the comment section asking, well, what can they do? What can they do? They can't do anything. They don't have any power. What they should be doing is not the sort of thing that you're going to find written in the Constitution. And the sort of coordination that you should be seeing from them across all levels of government, from state to local, county, and federal, there should be way more coordination going on. And they should be acting together and in unison. And they are not doing that. And they are not going to do that. You look at Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, you've never seen two people more unprepared for this moment, right? And they went into this shutdown dragged into it, clearly. They just felt they had no choice, right? And they had no plan beyond just shut it down and hope Trump caves. Trump's not going to cave. Look at this article from the New York Times. This is the president of the United States who is going to ratchet up the pain for Americans 100-fold to prove a point. He is going to beat the American people like a dog. And the opposition party has no plan for dealing with that. There should be so much coordination, and they should be acting in unison. And we are in the middle of a soft civil war. It has already been going on already. This president and his cronies have been dismantling illegally and unconstitutionally the federal government, and they have been exacting violence on the American people for 9 months now. We are not at a, well, let's just shut it down and hope we can save a couple dollars for Obamacare, because that's what this is. That's all this is. And this president's not even going to allow that to happen. So, I don't know. What I anticipate happening, this just gets worse and worse and worse until the Democrats cave and come back and sign and vote in favor of the motion to proceed on the funding bill, and this was all for naught. And all it will have done is just escalate the Project 2025 agenda leaps and bounds. This party and its elected officials, not just the institution of the party, but the elected officials who call themselves Democrats, have failed since last year before the election to prepare for this. They, especially Joe Biden, have failed since the election in the interregnum between the election and inauguration to prepare for this. And they are failing to execute this in the 9 months since. This administration has captured the Supreme Court. It has captured just about every agency of the federal government. It has captured Congress. And the Democrats have significant, and I would say still almost equal with Republicans. They have power when you take all of their elected officials and the governments that they represent together. You understand? But they're not going to exercise that power. We're talking about 60% of the American economy is governed in blue states. A massive portion of the population. All the big cities, you know, with the exception of a few, you know, Texas and Florida especially. We're talking an incredible amount of resources and power. And these schmucks just aren't going to exercise it at all. And they're going to sell us down the river, and people are going to die, become unemployed, they are going to starve, they are not going to have their health insurance or their medicine. It's going to continue to get so much worse. And every time something happens, the Democratic Party at best is responding to it. They've done nothing proactive. It's all just, even the gerrymandering thing here in California, that's just a response, right? Nothing proactive about that. This is a disaster. And the people who are going out of their way to bend over backwards and defend that party, it's absolutely disgraceful.
Shutdown continue. The anger of MAGA supporter is growing. Many of them are now questioning the next move of their government because they were a trust promise from Trump, because they were expect him to give them great America, as he always said that. But what they don't know, there is sometime when someone going to run for presidential, but he's looking for your vote, not for your interest. But this is sometimes happen when you betray your interest. Sometimes you vote for someone who feel like is going to work on my interest, but what you don't know, there is even that president also looking for his interest, not for the people. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you like it. Drop your comments, subscribe. See you on another one. I love you guys.